let's begin on the scene in Washington, D.C. That is where the House Judiciary Committee has now received a letter from Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg saying the White House pressured Meta to censor posts about COVID. Now Zuckerberg says he regrets bowing to what, in his words, was pressure. Our national correspondent Liz Landers joins us now live from Washington, D.C. And Liz, what else is inside this letter, and how are leaders where you are responding?
Yeah, Del, Mark Zuckerberg is being pretty direct in this letter that he sent to the Republican chairman of the House Judiciary Committee about content moderation and online platforms, his platforms, Meta. So the CEO said that the White House, quote, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content. He says that even included satire and humor posts. Zuckerberg goes on to say, quote, I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. Zuckerberg seems to indicate that he has learned a lesson from this incident and that he's ready to push back more forcefully if this happens again. Now, a White House spokesperson told Scripps News in a statement, quote, when confronted with a deadly pandemic, this administration encouraged responsible actions to protect public health and safety. Our position has been clear and consistent. We believe tech companies and other private actors should take into account the effects their actions have on the American people while making independent choices about the information they present. Now, Del, there's a bit of context here that's important. There was a Supreme Court decision about this that came out at the end of June that was addressing the question of whether or not the federal government can contact social media companies about content moderation. The court's decision said that, yes, the White House and other federal agencies can urge social media platforms to remove content they may view as mis- or disinformation. Now, I would add, Del, for the general public, this means that we cannot rely on Meta solely to be fact-checking content on their sites like Facebook and Instagram. Of course, that's important as we go into this election cycle because Meta could play a significant role because hundreds of millions of Americans use those platforms. Del?
So, Liz, in the letter, Mark Zuckerberg also talking about the Hunter Biden laptop story. What did he have to say about that?
Yeah, Del, as our viewers may remember from 2020, this was a very big issue in the lead up to that election. So Zuckerberg brought that example up as well in this letter, saying that the FBI reached out to Meta in the lead up to the 2020 election about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden campaign and Burisma, which is a private company. Zuckerberg said that when Meta saw the New York Post's reporting on Hunter Biden's laptop and the allegations of corruption involving Biden and his family, that their company, Meta, sent the story to fact checkers and temporarily demoted it on their platforms while they waited for a reply. Zuckerberg says that in retrospect, he shouldn't have demoted the story because it wasn't Russian disinformation. The laptop did prove to belong to Hunter Biden. Zuckerberg says that in light of that incident, Meta has changed their policies to make sure that something like that doesn't happen again, and says that Meta no longer temporarily demotes things in the U.S. while they are waiting for fact-checking. Del?
Our national correspondent Liz Landers for us on the scene in Washington, D.C. Liz, thank you very much.